Like 3 minutes or so. I got one or two students not here yet. One student not here yet. So we might just chill a bit. Because it's Derek as well. We can't learn Greek without Derek. We've got no chance. No chance whatsoever. While we're waiting, I know I said beforehand, why don't we do glasses. Question 1, question 2, question 5, question 6, question 3, question 4, but we didn't get past question 1 on the board, so just for anybody who went further on question 2 or 5 or 6, what should that have looked like? Well, question 2 says, if I looked at question 2, then I'll be looking at finding my verb. It would be poio, right? It comes from vocab word hiding behind it, poieo, right? But it's out in the wild, and so it's lost that eo. It's the first person singular, so it's I do, right? I do, and then I've got ta erga, which is my neuter. Is it nominative? Is it accusative? Well, I know it's accusative this case, right? Because the verb tells me that it's I am that's doing it. I'm the subject, right? I. So, okay, so it's got to be accusative, and it's plural. Ta, erga, plural, neuter. So I do the works, plural, and then tu theou, it's genitive. When I say genitive, you say, so it's the works of God. I do the works of God. 5. Oklos legei to Yesu. Okay, so I'm going to break up my sentence there. There's my punctuation again. So I'm just going to stop there, and I'm going to do the first clause first. And I can see the verb there is legei. And we've got a similar kind of situation to our first question. Our first question was the sister says to Jesus. And now this time it's just oklos. The crowd says to Jesus. And what does the crowd say to Jesus? Then I can look at the last part. Daimonion ekchais. Ekchais. It's going to be echo is the vocab word hiding behind it. Luo, luais. Okay, so it's second person singular. So the crowd is saying to Jesus, you have a demon, right? You have a demon. You're demon possessed, right? You have a demon. It's not demons, no. If it was demons, then it would be plural. It would be daimonia. Yeah? Erga, that plural ending. No, daimonion, it's singular. You have a demon. Yeah. And then 6, did people get to 6? People want 6? Yep, a few people got to 6. Peter, comma. And then I want to find a verb, didaskais. That looks like my verb to me from didasko. And again, luo, luais, so it's second person singular. You teach. What do you teach? Well, then I've got 10 basilian. That's in the accusative case. So that must be the object of the verb. You teach the kingdom. And I've got tu theou. That's in the genitive case. When I say genitive, you say. So it's the of. So Peter, you teach the kingdom of God. Yeah? Be happy enough with that? Cool. All right. Well, then let's turn our attention to what we want to look at this afternoon. And we won't be long. I do realise it's Friday afternoon. Yeah, it's Friday afternoon. Say no more, right? But it's also hot. And you want to get down to the beach, and we want to chill a bit and relax. It's been a big week. I get all that. So we won't be long. I promise you we won't be long. But there are some stuff that we do want to do and get our head around this afternoon. You have been learning lots. I know there's been a lot today to get into your head, which is why I wanted to just give you a chance to practice. We could have pushed on and finished before lunch, but I didn't think that was wise at the time. So let's just do one or two quick little things here. Really important stuff that we want to look at this afternoon. But to do that, we've got to go back to our sentence here. Steve threw Matthew's ball to Derek is where we're at the moment. Our sentence has changed. We've got all our all our cases in here. We've got our verb, Steve's our subject, the ball's the object. It's Matthew's ball, so it's possessive, it's genitive, and I'm throwing it to Derek, and he is the indirect object, so dative to or for, right? We're all there. You're with us. We're all good. Okay, what's the next sentence? Steve threw the ball to Derek. Derek caught the ball. Brilliant, Derek. Excellent. Steve threw the ball to Derek. Derek caught the ball. That's the next sentence, isn't it? That's what happened. Steve threw the ball to Derek. Derek caught the ball, right? Except, if you and I were just talking, we don't really say, Steve threw the ball to Derek. Derek caught the ball. What do we say? I say, Steve threw the ball to Derek. He caught it. That's what we say, right? We don't say Steve threw the ball, Derek caught the ball. We say he caught it. That's what we say, right? Now, these little words, he and it, are very important little words. What are they? What are they called? Does anyone know what they're called? They're called pronouns. He and it are called pronouns. And so we just want to spend a little bit of time, and really we might only be 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes max, and then you can all go and relax. But we want to just think a little bit about pronouns, because pronouns are really, 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 really important words. We use them all the time in English. All the time. You'd be surprised how often we use them, right? And we use them in Greek quite a lot as well. They're called pronouns. Why are they called pronouns? Because they replace the noun, right? They replace the noun. They substitute in for the noun, so we don't have to say, Derek caught the ball. We can just say, he caught it. It's much easier, right? And because of the context, we know who he is. Because the pronoun's referring back to someone. And because we know from the context, we know what he caught. Because the pronoun's pointing back to something, right? Okay? So pronouns work like that. They replace a noun in the sentence, and they kind of point back to the noun that went before it, right? This is what pronouns are. And we're talking about words like he or she or it, right? They're pronouns. Or hers or his. They're pronouns too, right? Those kind of ideas. They're all pronouns. And we're talking about those kind of words here. Now, as I said, we use these in English all the time. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky, so I want to just take it slow and make sure that we're all okay with this. When we're talking about nouns before, right, when we're back in noun world, when we've got that table up there that says every noun fits somewhere in this table, remember we've got masculine nouns and feminine nouns and neuter nouns, yeah? And I said, if we're talking about nouns, for it to be masculine or feminine or neuter, it doesn't mean anything, right? It's got nothing to do with being manly or anything like that, right? They're just categories. We could call them the dog, fish, cat nouns. Doesn't matter, right? They're just categories. They're just names of groups. They're grammatical categories. So logos being a masculine noun doesn't mean anything, right? It just means it's in that column. That's all it means, right? Work, ergon, being a neuter noun, doesn't mean anything. It just means it's in that column. Hemera, day, being a feminine noun, right? It just means it's in that column. Got nothing to do with sex. Got nothing to do with gender. Got nothing to do with anything like that, right? It's just got to do with the grammatical category that they belong to. You with me? That was nouns. That was just nouns, right? But now we're talking about pronouns. And now that we've moved into pronoun world, then those things do matter. They are talking about gender. We're talking about people, right? Because if I throw the ball to Derek, I say, Steve threw the ball to Derek, he caught it. Well, it's he caught it because Derek's a guy, right? If I was to throw the ball to Eden, then we'd say she caught it, right? Because it's very different. She's a girl, so we're going to change the pronoun. It's not going to be he, it's going to be she. If I was to say Steve threw Eden to Derek, right? Then we'd say he caught her. He dropped it. You ready? Right? He caught her, right? The reason why he or she caught it is because the ball is an inanimate object. It's a thing. It's an it, right? Okay? So when we're talking about nouns, masculine, feminine, neuter, they're just categories, right? When we're talking about pronouns, though, it matters. If the noun it's referring back to is a guy, then we're going to use he. If the noun that we're referring back to is a lady, then we're going to use she. If the noun that we're referring back to is a thing, then we're going to call it it. Okay? And it's the same in Greek. We're going to have masculine pronouns and feminine pronouns and neuter pronouns, but this time they do mean something. They do talk about the gender or the reality of the noun that it's referring back to, right? Whether it's a man or a woman or a thing. Are you with me? It's a little bit confusing, right? Because in noun world, it's not like that. But when we go and step into pronouns, it is like that. The gender matters. The gender is reflective of the gender of the pronoun beforehand, right? The actual gender, whether it's a man or a woman or a thing, okay? Okay, got to make sure we get that right. Yeah. Okay. So today we want to learn those words. Words like he, like the word he and she and it and things like that. We want to learn that word in Greek because we use them a fair bit. They turn up quite a lot. Just like they do in English, we don't want to keep saying Jesus, 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 Jesus. We want to say Jesus, he did this and he did that and he did this and he did that, right? So that word is going to come up all the time. Okay, so we want to meet that word. But before we meet that word, let's go back to our article paradigm for a moment. Okay? You know this. We've seen it before. You haven't grown to love it. Right now you loathe it a little bit. Right now you're sitting there thinking to yourself, what sort of crazy language has 24 different ways to say the? This is messed up, right? That's what you're kind of thinking. But you get in there and you're starting to realize and you're starting to trust me because you're starting to realize Steve actually loves me and he wants what's best for me. And so I should listen to Steve, right? And I should do what Steve says. Because if I listen to Steve and do what Steve says, everything's going to be good in the world, right? You're starting to realize this, right? So is my son, by the way. No, he's not going to realize it all. Okay, right? But I've told you, you're starting to realize that actually learning this is really helpful, right? This is a great thing to learn because they're going to help you all the time. You realize that over here, you couldn't figure out what case Yesu was, but you knew it because you knew the article. You knew that it was dative. So the article helps you. And you know that learning the article, if I learn the masculine form of the article, it pretty much gives me all my logos endings for free. And if I learn the neuter form of the article, it gives me all my ergon endings for free. And if I learn the feminine form of the article, it pretty much gives me all my first declension feminine words for free too. It gives me archaea at least, right? So you're realizing that learning this is good for you. It doubles up. It makes your work so much easier. Right, now look at this, because I'm about to show you the third declension. Not the third declension. I'm about to show you the third person pronouns. We've got to learn them. But realize I can say he, yeah? So there's going to be a whole masculine column there, but I can say she as well, so there's going to be a whole feminine column there. And I can say it, so there's going to be a whole neuter column there. And I could be referring back to lots of men, so there'll be a plural and singular, and I could be referring back to lots of ladies, and so it'll be plural or singular. Okay, we're going to have 24 different ways of saying he, she, or it as well, right? Because he might be the subject, or he might be the object, or it might be his ball, or I might have thrown the ball to him, and right? So these pronouns can be used across the board. The pronouns play across this whole board as well. So we're going to have 24 different pronouns too. But before you panic, right? Don't panic, right? Because right now you're sitting there thinking, you can't be serious. My brain is already full, and you're about to give me another whole 24 things to learn, a whole nother table. You've got to be joking, Steve. I'm out. I'm done. All right? No, don't do that. Just watch the screen, okay? Just watch the screen. Watch it. There's the definite article. There's the third person pronouns. There's the definite article. There's the third person pronouns. There's the definite article. There's the third person pronouns. Article. Pronouns. Article. Pronouns. What did I do? Article. Pronouns. Just put our out the front. Right? All I have to do is add our to the front of all, and these ones that didn't have the tau there, add that in as well for the nominative singular and plural, masculine and feminine. But all I need to do is add our out the front to my article paradigm. Article. Third person pronouns. Right? You learn the article, you get a whole stack of stuff for free. Right? All you have to do is put alpha, upsilon out the front of your article, and you've changed it all into the third person pronouns. The endings are exactly the same. Right? Well, except for the nominative singular masculine. It's gone from hot to like logos, right? Okay, altos. But the endings are exactly the same. Altos, alton, altu, alto, altoi, altus, altone, altois. It's exactly the same, right? It's exactly the same as logos. It's exactly the same as the article. It's all that you've learned, right? It all comes for free. So don't panic, right? This is easy peasy. If you know one of them, you know the other one, right? Okay? This is definitely the definition of bog off, right? Buy one, get one free. You learn one of them, you get the other one for free, totally, right? So don't panic. This basically comes to us for free. But this is how we talk about our third person pronouns. So let's think for a moment and let's stop for a second and let's think about how I'd translate those words. If altos, for instance, if it's a nominative singular third person masculine pronoun, how would I translate that? For example, if Steve threw the ball to Derek and he caught it, what's the subject in that sentence? He caught it. He is the subject. No. What's the verb? Caught. And so who did the catching? He did. Right? So altos would be he. If I threw the ball, if I threw Derek and he was the accusative, it was alton, and I went and picked Derek up and threw him, I just gave you the answer. How would you translate that? I threw him. Alton would be him. I threw him. That's how I would say it in English. Because he's this object, right? He caught the ball. I threw him. Right? It changes. If this ball is my son's ball, so I could just say, Matthew is my son. This is his ball. Right? So if it was the genitive, autu, then we'd translate that as his. You with me? And if I threw the ball to him, well, then that's what the answer would be, wouldn't it, right? I threw the ball to him. So if it was alto, I'd translate it as to him. You with me? Should we do the ladies as well? Let's not leave them out. If it was feminine, if I threw the ball to Eden and she caught it, right? So then alter would be translated as she, right? That's how we have a nominative, a subject, feminine third person pronoun, it's she. But if I were to throw Eden to Derek and pick her up, please don't, then I would say that I was going to throw her, yeah? So our 10 would be her. If this ball belonged to Eden, then it would be hers. So our test would be hers. And our ter in the dative, I throw it to her. With me? This is how we translate all those. Neuter, Well, let's think about the neuter. If the neuter was the subject, if a thing was the subject, we used the sound system this morning. It broke and didn't work well. Okay, in that second sentence, what's the third person pronoun? It. Yeah. And it was the subject of that second sentence, wasn't it? It broke, right? Okay, so our top as a subject would be it. And if I broke it, oh, I just did it, it's just going to be it again, right? If it's the object, then it's going to be it too. And if the ball belonged to some abstract concept, then we'd call it its, wouldn't we? And we'd throw it to it and stuff like that. Okay, so you ready? You with me? So here, we've just gone through it all, but let me just put it up on the screen for you. So our third person pronouns, when we translate them, look like this. If it's masculine and it's a subject, it's going to be he. If it's masculine and it's an object, it's going to be him. If it's masculine and it's genitive, possessive, it's going to be his. And if it's masculine and it's dative, then it's going to be to him. If it's feminine, she is the subject. If it's an object, then it's going to be her. If it's genitive, it's going to be hers, and it's going to be to her. And then if it's neuter, it's going to be it, its, and to it. The plural in English is the same, right? If I say they, I could be talking about a bunch of guys. I could say they as a group of ladies. I could say they as all the tables on the floor, right? Doesn't matter. We still say they, them, their, to them. If it doesn't change, right? The plural's the same in English across, so we'd translate it the same. But can you see again how much more powerful Greek is? Because all this is exactly the same. But in Greek, I can distinguish between speaking to a group of ladies and speaking to a group of men, or speaking to a group of fish, right? I can do that in Greek, but in English it's just exactly the same. We couldn't distinguish. We couldn't say, is it completely a bunch of guys or is it completely a bunch of women or anything like that, right? You couldn't do that. But Greek's going to distinguish between them by having those specifically different pronouns. Okay, so here's our pronouns. They look exactly the same as our definite article, just with our in front of them. So it comes to you for free, and that's what they're going to mean. That's how we're going to translate them. Okay? Rightio. That's nice and easy. Well, easy enough. So, are there any questions about pronouns? Yeah, Josh. No, they'll be in the text. They will be in the text, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Let me try and give you some examples so that we can practice here. That's what I'm just looking for right now. Yeah, questions while I've got them. Eden, while I'm looking.
When it talks about God as him, is it capitalized?
Not in Greek, no. It won't be in Greek. This is why I asked you to leave off section 3 and section 4 in exercises earlier. But yeah, no, it won't be capitalized. It won't be him. It won't be capitalized. Remember, most of the letters aren't capitalized in Greek, in the Greek text that we're looking at here. Almost all of them aren't. What we saw earlier, like this, for instance, this was a capital. And so because Greek doesn't have speech marks, right? Remember, there's no speech marks in Greek. Because Greek doesn't have speech marks, one of the ways that I don't bring my Greek Bible with me, but one of the ways that our Greek Bible today helps us realize that someone's starting to speak is it uses a capital letter often. Right? But yeah, that's just the kind of way we've customized to do it. As I said, originally, all the text was written in capital letters. All of it was squashed up next to each other. There was no marks or anything like that. It was all just there for you, okay? We've done the punctuation and everything like that. Okay, but Back to page 41. Let's have a look at question 3 and 4 now, quickly. Question 3 and 4, page 41. Let's see if we can quickly translate those two. Let's work on them. Question 3, question 4, section A exercises at the bottom of page 41. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of time to work on those by yourselves, and then we'll come back and we'll do it together on the board. I just want you to think about them for a second by yourself. Let's work on this together. Eyes up the front here. Let's work on it. You've all got the same thing down in front of you. It's up here. Hopefully you can kind of see what's going on here. What's the first thing that I do? Do I go looking for all the words that I recognize and try and put them together and then try and put it together in a sentence that makes sense? I want to hear you all say it. No! I will never do that ever again, Steve. I promise. Cross my heart and hope to die. Right? No, that's not what you do. What is the first thing you do? Find your verb. Who's got a verb for me? Philae looks like a verb. Excellent. Have I got any others? Lale. That looks like a verb too. Uh-oh. Feel like I've got a problem here because Steve said to me earlier, you can't have two verbs in one clause. Right? So what that means is that we've got to break this sentence up too. So earlier we saw one of the things we can use to break up our sentences was punctuation, right? Okay? Now we're learning there's another thing that we can use to break up our sentences. There's a great word that we use all the time to break up sentences. Does anyone know what it is? And. Kai. So when I see a kai, I'm going to put a big line like that in my translation as well. And it's going to break up my clauses, right? Because I can't have two verbs in the one clause, but I can add clauses after clause after clause after clause by using and. Steve went to the beach, and he went for a swim, and he had lots of fun, and he got sunburnt, and he went and had lunch, and see? Right? You can just add lots and lots of clauses together with a kai, with an and. Same in English, same in Greek, right? So one of the ways we can break up our sentences into little clauses is with punctuation. The other way to do it is with kai, classic clause breaker. Kai, right? So whenever we see a kai, we're going to put a big mark over here. Now that I've got two clauses and I've got one verb in each clause, happy days, right? Now I can start working at trying to translate. And I go by just looking at one clause first and then the next clause, as if they were completely separate. You don't take stuff from this clause over here and this clause over there. This barrier here breaks you and stops you from doing that in your mind, okay? All right? So we just go to the first clause, and I go to the verb, and I see it's philae, and I know what's the vocab word hiding behind it. It's phileo, and that means I love. Okay, then I look at the ending, and I'm like, what does the ending tell me? Third person singular. So it's he, she, or it loves. Does my sentence tell me who he, she, or it is? Yes. Why? How? How does it tell me who he, she, or it is? Because there's a subject. There's a nominative noun, right? What's the nominative noun in my clause here? Theos, this is nominative, right? So it's God who loves. He's the subject. God loves. What does God love? Okay, now we come over here. What case is this? Ton huion. Ton huion? It's accusative. And if it's accusative, then it must be the object of the sentence. Nice and easy. God loves the Son. Fine. Everybody happy so far? And, kai, new clause. Now I go to my verb, lelai. What's the vocab word hiding behind it? Laleo, which means I say, I speak. Yeah, right. Okay. And laleo, and the ending's going to tell me that it's third person singular again. So it's he, she, or it speaks or says. Okay. Does my sentence tell me who he, she, or it is? Well, yes and no. This clause doesn't. But does the context tell me who he, she, or it is? Yes, it does. It's God still, right? And he speaks. What case is this? Auto. Dative. Yeah, let me get it. It's right here. All right? This is our third person pronoun. Auto. Dative, third person pronoun, masculine. So I'm going to translate it as, if I say dative, I'm going to translate it as 2 or 4. He speaks to him. Okay? How happy is everybody with that? Happy enough? You approve of my work? Great. Okay. I'm not worried about how happy you are with me. I'm like, what about your work, right? Okay, so who got something different to God loves the Son and he speaks to him? Derek, what happened? What went wrong? Nothing wrong with making mistakes in this room. We learn from them.
Well, the second part, instead of saying he says or he speaks, they say and says.
Oh, okay. That's fine. That's okay. You can say that. God loves the Son and speaks to him. That'll be perfectly fine. That's fine. You get 100% for that. Yep.
God loves the Son and speaks to him. So that's not he speaks.
Okay, same thing. God loves the Son and speaks to him, right? So you're saying, okay, we don't need this. This is superfluous. That sentence in English still makes sense without that he. That's fine. I'm okay with that. That's not a problem at all. You did say the God, though. Remember, we don't need to translate the article for God, all right? It's always going to be there. We can just translate that as God. Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions about that one? Otherwise, happy enough? We could do that? It's Friday afternoon and you guys are translating like, this is a big sentence, right? With lots of words and different clauses. You guys are smashing this. I don't think you realize how good you are. I really don't. Okay. Oh. Remember, words like Lego and laleo, as we spoke about earlier, take the dative, yeah? This is just an example of it as well, remember? We said that earlier. Speaking words, Lego, laleo, they take the dative, right? You'd expect them maybe to be followed by an accusative noun, but they don't, because it's literally, he speaks words to him. But we leave the words out. We just say he speaks to him, right? Okay, what about this next one then? Yes? Yeah, it could say speaks for him, and that wouldn't be the genitive. It'd still be the dative. We're going to translate the dative as to or for. Context is going to help us, right? So if this was a court case and the son was on trial and God was the one defending him, then we might translate it in that context. God loves the son and he's going to speak for him. He's going to speak on his behalf. We might translate it that way, yeah? Just depends on the context. To or for, whatever works best in the context for dative, yeah. Cool? Okay, last one. Let's do this one and then we can go home. Lamba nomen kaite rumen ta biblia altu. All right, what is the first thing I'm going to do? Find a verb. Josh, give me a verb. Lamban nomen. Looks like a verb to me. Is there any other verbs? What's another verb? Terumen's another verb. Now I've got two verbs. Can't have two verbs in the one clause. That's a problem. How am I going to break it up? Kai's going to break it up for me. Excellent. Now I've got two clauses, one verb in each clause. Happy place, right? That's what you want to do. You can't have two verbs in a clause. So I've got two separate clauses. I'm just going to look at one of them at a time. So I'm going to go to the first clause. It's only one word. So it's not too hard to figure this one out, right? We should start with, we'll start with this word, shall we? Right? It's the only one there. Okay. Lambomen. Vocab word hiding behind it. Which means? I take, right? I take, I receive. And it's the I, omen. So it's the first person plural, right? So it's going to be we receive. Sorry, this pen is dying. This pen's like, it's Friday afternoon, let us go home. We receive and... Okay, now we go to the next clause, right? Go to our verb first. Terumen. Vocab word hiding behind it. Tereo. Yeah? Vocab word means? I keep. How do you remember that one? Anyone? Yeah? Eden, what's your mnemonic for remembering that? Yeah? You tear something off to keep it. Yeah, great, excellent. Great way to remember it. Tereo, I'm tearing something away, I'm going to keep it. Okay, terumen though, tells me what sort of ending. What does the ending tell me? First person plural again, and it's umen instead of omen, because this is a luo type verb and this is a phileo type verb, isn't it, right? But they're both first person plural. So we receive and we keep. All right, what do we receive and what do we keep? Okay, what case is ta biblia? It's accusative. Now, it's ta biblia, so it's neuter, yeah? Accusative plural. It's neuter, so it could be nominative or it could be accusative. It could be the subject or it could be the object. Is it obvious which one it is in this case? Yes, it is, right? Because context is your friend. You see, this is why these things don't usually become confusing. It's not going to be like the books keep or something, because we know it's first person plural. It's like we are the ones who are keeping, right? The subject's already there. Okay? So we receive and we keep the... Oh, I just told you what it was. We keep the books. The books, plural, ta biblia, plural. Neuter plural, don't miss that. The books, okay, now our two, here we go. What case is that? It's up on the screen there. What case is it? Our two. It's genitive. And when I say genitive, you say? Oh, that is a Friday afternoon of, right? When I say genitive, you say? Oh, that's not much better. Ready? Everyone get down. Suck it up. When I say genitive, you say? Yeah, there we go. All right. The books of him. We receive and we keep the books of him. And then you go, well, that's pretty good translation, but it sounds a bit wooden, and I'm cleverer than that. So I'm going to go, oh, yeah, and we keep his books. And you think, yeah, I'm really smart, right? Okay? And that's the way it is. We receive and we keep his books. Or his, what's the other one for biblia? Biblion? Scrolls, is it scrolls? Books, scrolls, yeah, something like that. Questions? How do we go with this one? All good? Anybody get anything different to that? Eden?
I just want to ask if we have to say we twice.
No, same thing as we did up here. That's fine. We could say, we received and keep his books. That's fine. Yeah.
Is it wrong that initially I just wrote his books and not the books of his?
Books of him. No, that's not wrong. It just means you're super smart and you're jumping a step. All right? But in your super smartness jumping steps, don't make sure you don't get it wrong. Yeah. Of the books. Okay. That would mean that of the books, that would mean that that's genitive. Yeah? Of the books. Yeah? Okay? But this is not genitive, is it? This is accusative. Yeah? The third person pronoun's genitive. Of him. Yeah? Or his books. Yeah. Tashwa, did you have your hand up? No? No?
What about this guy? Few sentences was like these two verbs, they have the same sound, the same subject, they're in the same cases.
Yeah.
How can you just say we receive and keep?
Perfect. No problem with that at all. We receive and keep. No problem at all. But nothing wrong with saying we receive and we keep either. Both are perfectly fine. It means exactly the same thing in English, you know that. So that's fine. No problems at all. Yep. Okay, sounds like everyone's good. We're happy with that. And everybody's starting to look up into the sky and look around and start thinking, start wondering how long it is before they can get to the beach. Actually, you started doing that about 2 hours ago. All right, so let's call it a day. Let's talk about what you're going to do over the weekend quickly before we go home. This is what we're going to do. Firstly, you're going to learn your vocab. You're going to learn your vocab. Chapters 1, chapters 2, chapters 3, and now chapter 5. What? Seriously. Chapter 1, 2, 3, and 5. Don't learn the vocab for chapter 4 yet. Leave it. It'll confuse you. We'll come back and explain it on Monday. Learn the vocab for chapters 1, 2, 3, and chapter 5. Leave chapter 4 by itself. Leave it alone for the moment. 1, 2, 3, and 5 now. So that's another 30 words. So we're almost up to like 100 words now. Okay? Got to get on top of it all. Secondly, chapter summaries. We've now finished everything there is in chapter 3. Okay? So you can do your chapter summary for chapter 3 as well. All right? That'll be great. Get that done over the weekend. Submit it before Monday. Vocab. Chapter summaries. Sheets for you. Okay. Homework sheets. Homework sheets. You know what? I'm going to do this because everyone's sick of life. I'm going to sanitize myself so I'm nice and clean. Nice and clean. You can all trust me. And I'm just going to hand these out as quickly as I can because it takes too long. Okay, homework sheets. Let's talk about these. Quickly tell you what it is that you want to do for your homework sheets. Good catch, Anadi. You got one. Okay, homework sheets. So, question number 1. Oh, this is fun, right? So, go to your text of Mark chapter 1, verses 1 to 5. I didn't print it out for you again. I presume you got it somewhere. I've printed it out for you twice now. But go to the first 5 verses, Mark chapter 1, verses 1 to 5, and fill in the table below for each of the definite articles. So, you're scanning through the text and you're looking for all the thes, right? Because you can read that word now and you can recognize it now. So, get into the text of the Bible yourself and go on a the hunt, right? And go finding all the definite articles. So I did the first one. What you're supposed to do is find it in the text, write out what form it is in the text. So the first one is to, and then you're going to tell me what case and what number and what gender it is, right? So the first one's to, so it's genitive and it's singular. It could be masculine, it could be neuter, all right? Depending on which noun it's after. And then you're going to go through. The numbers on the side there, by the way, is not just me being stupid and numbering them. They're the verses. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 twos there. So just to give you the heads up, psst, if you didn't see 4 different thes in verse 2, you missed 1 or 2, yeah? Okay? Yours is not double-sided. Does somebody else not have a double-sided one then as well? No, you've just got the backside. You've just got the other one. Yeah, there we go. You got the original photocopy one. All right. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. Go through verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, verse 4, verse 5. Try find all the thes and then fill in that table. Down the bottom, you did that exercise for 2 cases last night. Now you can do it for 4 cases, right? Okay, good. Flip over the page. Okay. Question 5. Parsing nouns. We've done that before as well. Okay, so what case, number, gender, what's the vocab word hiding behind it? What does that word mean? Right, we're going to do that. Question 4. Question 3 takes a little bit more explaining. So let me just try and explain this to you quickly. But basically, if I get these 3 pieces of information from you, if I get the nominative singular form of the word, the nominative singular form of the word, the vocab word, right? Because we learn our nouns in the nominative singular form. If I get the nominative singular form of the word, and I get the genitive ending, and I get the article that it likes to take. Right? So if it's a masculine word, it'll take a masculine article. If you get a feminine word, it'll take the feminine article. If I get the nominative singular form, the genitive ending, and the article, That's the 3 pieces of information, the 3 key pieces of information that you can give me about any noun. And the reason is because that table up on the board, every noun fits somewhere on this table, every one of those squares actually has a different combination of those 3 things. Yeah? So if I have those 3 pieces of information, then I know exactly where it belongs on that table, you see, right? Okay? So when we talk about the lexical entry, when I look a word up, a noun up in the dictionary, in a Greek dictionary or a lexicon, right? When I do that, it'll give me those 3 pieces of information. It'll give you the nominative singular, the genitive ending, and the article it takes. Okay? So I want you to practice doing that for me down here, right? In this exercise. Look at the word hamartias, and then you go, okay, well, what's the vocab word hiding behind it? What's the nominative singular? What's the genitive ending that it takes? And then what's the article that it takes? Yeah. Just singular, genitive singular, the genitive singular ending. Yeah. The genitive singular ending. So I've given you one example there. Logos, it would be logos, and then it would be ou, right? Because the genitive singular ending is logos, logon, logu, and it's masculine, so it takes the masculine article ho, right? So that's what 3 pieces of information you're supposed to give me for each one of those words. With me? Good, excellent. You're like, yep, I'm done, Steve. I'm with you. Get out of here. Let me go, please. All right. Then, last thing, practice your paradigms. Got lots of paradigms to practice. We haven't learned any more verb paradigms, but don't forget them. Keep practicing them. So I've given them to you again to remind you. Now, we've got noun paradigms, and we've got noun paradigms coming out of every bit of our body, right? Okay, so we've got the article, full article. We've got the second declension masculines. We've got the second declension neuters. And we've got all those first declension feminines as well. All right? Practice, practice, practice. You've got the answers so that you can keep practicing and make sure you're practicing the right thing. And you've got your third person pronouns as well to practice. Auto, autos, auton. Practice, 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 practice. Okay? Now, this is what you are going to do this weekend. This is your homework, right? Practice your paradigms, practice everything. Listen to me carefully before you run out the door. I said we'd only be 20 minutes, and now we're an hour. Now you're not going to believe me ever again. I know you've done a lot of work these last couple of days. I know that. You've worked really hard. You've done really well. It's been a big effort, and I appreciate it. I think you guys have done fantastically, and you should be encouraged, right? You translated your first verse of the Bible this morning, and now you're translating Greek sentences left, right, and center. Ashley. You're doing really well, right? So be encouraged. But please listen to me. Do not go, man, that has been an intense couple of days. Whew, I am done. I'm so glad that's not on again until Monday. What I need now more than anything is just a weekend off, right? Let me tell you, that is not what you need now more than anything. What you need now more than anything is to spend this whole weekend doing nothing but eating and sleeping and Greeking. I'm serious. Eat, sleep, Greek. That's what this weekend's about. Next weekend, you can have a rest. Okay, you can go to church or do church online, right? I'll let you do that as well, right? But apart from that, it's eat, sleep, Greek. Eat, sleep, Greek. It's not party, it's not beach, it's not soccer, it's not football. It's eat, sleep, Greek. Because you want to make sure that on Monday morning, when you turn up here, you know all your vocab. You know all these paradigms. You've got them all down pat. Use this weekend to make sure you know everything that we've already looked at. Trust me, because it's not going to stop. You're going to come on Monday, I'm going to give you a whole stack more stuff to learn. You're going to come on Tuesday, I'm going to give you a whole stack more stuff to learn. So use this weekend to get on top of it, right? Now's the time to dig deep. Eat, sleep, and Greek. That's what this weekend's about, okay? That's what summer school intensive's about. It's intense, okay? We'll be able to relax next weekend when you've finished your summer school and you've done your summer school quiz. It's just a quiz. When you've finished your summer school quiz, and you can just relax, and then you can go to the beach and chill and go and, well, you can't go and have parties, you can't do anything anyway. But, you know, not this weekend. This weekend is eat, sleep, Greek. Okay? Deal? Oh, some of you are hesitant to say that. Trust me, I want what's best for you. I really do. So make sure you get all that vocab and all those paradigms under your belt and on your head before Monday morning. All right, guys. Have a good weekend.